Love them all.
It's not like you're losing your voice.
No. Anybody else want to talk? Say what they like to do, or what any other questions? I would love to hear from. I have to say that this university is so amazing. This theater and the people I've met today. I was telling Letitia, I don't think I've ever met so many fabulous people in a half an hour than I've met in Eastern Illinois University. Really, I mean, I met Daiva and Marty.
Who are recruiting her to Scrabble, by the way.
Yes, I'm a convert. And my husband and I are going to be, and Bruce and Victoria, fabulous, and of course Letitia, who's amazing. And all of the students, too. It just seems like everybody's really with it here. So I think we'll move from Chicago and come here. My husband's a film critic up in Chicago area, so he's also a writer, which is helpful. He's my little secret weapon. And he was sort of like when, I guess, Tolstoy had the famous, in the margins, his wife, or was it Tolstoy or was it Dostoevsky, he wrote these copious notebooks, and she would come and write these horrible comments, and then he would say, "You bitch," and then he should say, "Yeah, I did not mean it that way, and yes, you did," and go buy bread or something. And so my husband would edit my work after. I have another person I met at Ragday who's a poet and edits my first versions. And I'm working on a second book, and he was just in town. That's why I'm sick, because we stayed up for 8 nights editing. We're insane. But my husband would come home, and after my editor had edited it, then he would edit it, and he would just write these things inside slut and different things. I said, it was just fictional here,
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah. But it's fun having a person at home who can. I'm sorry, were you just raising your hand?
Yeah, I just had another question.
Sure.
I wrote a story in class called Space, and basically it was an account of a recent relationship that I was in that didn't pan out for myself. I like the fact that I started off with an argument, and I think that my professor said that worked well too, because it adds instant conflict.
Mm-hmm.
Dropping right to the conflict.
Right. Instead of having backstory. Yeah.
And then throughout the course of my story, I have a guy driving about an hour and a half to another location, listening to different songs that kind of remind him of what he had with her. But then throughout the story, he realizes that he needs space, his space too, which is what I call this space. But
I like the title. That's really neat.
well, I often felt that I kind of maybe used too much too many songs, kind of like a soundtrack. I think that way too. I'm sitting here like I could have named like 50 songs, and I just kind of think it made it muddled. Did you ever feel like in your stories that you were getting
Sidetracked?
sidetracked too?
That's an interesting question. Yeah, again, it's like, editing. Editing really helps when you're, working on something. But I think the songs were sort of a integral part of the scene. So it wasn't just, I'm going to drop the names of these songs she's composing right now. It was more, holistically built into the scene, like when she's in court and she's singing a song that she just wrote, and the judge is coming in and out, and people are like, who the hell is singing, in a divorce court? So I think it kind of works that way, that it has to be incorporated into the scene and make sense. So it can't just be sort of decoupaged onto, the structure of the book or what's happening. But, back there?
I'm working on my first novel as well, and I was just wondering if you had any advice as to what to do when you got a bad piece of writer's block. Because I find that when I work on a certain chapter for so long, I get so frustrated with it that oftentimes it's just like there's this big wall in the way. I can't really get around it. So.
Have some children. And you'll really want to write, because you'll be changing diapers and you're like, could I just have this cast of mind where I can get into this imaginary world? No, writer's block, that's an interesting question. I think if you have writer's block, maybe you should tell yourself that you just should sit down and just do a free write or something. Just don't just write no matter what, and just do a. I guess Annie Lamott says, do a shitty first draft and hope you don't die before, you can change it. Just get it out, and don't start editing yourself and think, oh, I don't know if it's going to be good. I don't know. Just don't have that part of your brain in your head. Just do it, and just feel lucky that you're able to do it.
So, I mean, being a writer and being a published author are two significantly different things. And in this coming economy, I imagine it would be even more difficult to be published. Tips, tricks, or business cards to pass on?
Business. Well, I mean, I guess that's why I kind of did the whole multimedia thing, because I feel like the more you can market yourself, and you build your platform, sort of, that horrible term, but it is kind of important to have things. I have a web show coming up as well that is called Interview with a Broken Heart. And what we do is I interview people about their breakups, and then we have a panel of Saturday Night Live and Second City people who make fun of them. And it's hilarious. I'm not kidding. It's crazy funny, because people come and I'm like, open your heart to us, and we do this whole. Then they start the little peanut gallery, and it gets very crazy. And we have a little gilded Kleenex box that gets rolled up onto the stage, and so that's a kind of a cool web show that I thought, well, I kind of want to continue this while I'm writing my second book, which has nothing to do with the first book at all. It's a lot more about sexual healing and sexual healing. I think that's enough, but it's very tantalizing. But and it's totally fictional. Has a little bit of sci-fi in it. So I kind of wanted to keep that stream going with the, yeah. No, I just going on here.
I was just wondering, you do so many different things: paint, compose, write. Do you find that like you use certain ones or certain outlets for like certain emotions? Or do you find that like your art as a whole kind of like progresses together and you kind of like find overlapping themes in all of them?
That's really interesting. I've always sort of struggled with the fact that I really love to write, and I've always written. So I just, since I've been really young, I filled up, like I have a whole bookshelf of blank books that are filled with drawings and writings, and they're just like, I just couldn't, I must be stopped. But yeah, so then I always did artwork as well, and I do composing, and I teach, and I do piano, and I do concerts too sometimes if I actually can practice. But I just try to do it all, basically, and I think I've concentrated in different segments of my life in different things. Right now I'm totally concentrating on the writing, because it's really difficult to do. I mean, it's hard to do everything at once at the same time, but I did a music video for this book. I did a song for this book. I designed, I did the dramatization, and the thing that I read today was done by an equity actor at Writers Theater in Glencoe, and it's near Chicago, and it's a fabulous theater, and they did a beautiful job. I wish you could have been here tonight. But so I try to do everything I can do to get my hand in it. And I think, anything you can bring, and lots of people are multidisciplined, artists that I know. And do you do more than one thing, or?
Oh, I can barely do one thing.
What about you? Do you do more than, yeah?
Yeah, I do.
What do you do?
Ceramics, photography, painting, writing, poetry.
Fabulous.
My next thing that I want to start getting into is performance art.
Fantastic. I've done that as well at the Art Institute. Yeah, performance art. That's a pretty trippy thing to do. Yeah, well, that's fabulous. Well, you sound like you're very talented. But they do feed on each other. I mean, I don't know why. To me, it seems like there's so many people that are talented, and I guess the danger is that you'd be kind of a dilettante and you would get nothing done. But sometimes it can actually be very advantageous, I think, to a product. If you do get something out, then you can sort of funnel all your other, talents and creativity and into that, and it can be very helpful. Because they're kind of looking for that too now, at least now. Because editors and when you're first time published, they don't do a lot for you either. You kind of got to do it all yourself. So.
Maybe one more question?
I think someone back there. Is someone back there raising their hand, or was I just imagining it?
Maybe no more questions.
Thank you so much for coming. This was a fabulous turnout, and delighted to be here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.